So first up is Devin on Dark Pit. That's about it, because I don't really know what's going on. Okay, we're doing a lag test, so hopefully it's not lagging. Wow, I wonder what map they're gonna play. Crazy. Presumably they're making their picks right now in their bands. They're taking their good sweet time and making these picks. Small battlefield. Okay. So it's like Battlefield, but small. I don't know who the other person is, to be honest. Or even what team they're playing against. But, our guy is Devin. This looks like it's Dark Pit against Samus. I don't know. Never actually seen a Samus player when watching the esports team. So we'll see how this goes. Looks like Devin's off to a decent start. Okay. Losing a little ground. Not as solid as it started. Hopefully I'll be able to come back from this, I'm sure. Ugh, that was a little rough. Alright, so we might not be able to win this one, but hopefully we'll be able to at least, take some stocks. Okay. Hopefully we'll at least get one stock. Ideally. Surely we can get at least one stock. that was a little unfortunate. Would have been better if we could have gotten at least one stock, but it is what it is. I don't know. I assume that the team hasn't had a ton of experience with Samus because I have not ever seen them play against a Samus, and I've watched quite a bit, at least during these games. I'm not sure how much they've done it in practice, but definitely in these matches I haven't really seen that, so perhaps we just don't have a lot of experience with that. I'm not sure. So, first matchup, not super ideal, but I'm sure that our next matchup, we can come back from that. Just a little unfortunate. Alright, sending in Julian on Mewtwo. Julian should probably have some more luck with this. He's been practicing all day. Not necessarily against Samus, but got to see him in his one-on-one. Practicing some of his teleportation techniques and things like that, so I'm confident that Julian's going to be able to take these stocks for IC. Now, Julian's the type of player that literally analyzes frame by frame what he's doing, which I was absolutely fascinated to watch earlier as he was, practicing his teleportation. He's breaking it down and talking about whether it's 3 frames or 4 frames, and personally I can't even tell how many frames things would be, but he's sitting here analyzing it and doing various matchups to make sure that he's prepared for a variety of different characters. This matchup looks a little bit closer than we would necessarily like, but Julian's still, I think, gonna come out on top. That was a little unfortunate, but there's still time to come back. He was telling me earlier about, which I didn't really realize, just how much Wi-Fi connection can affect Smash as a whole, with how technical these things are and the timing. So things like that can really affect. But here recently, Julian's been kind of getting back to his old self and really showing his strength as his Mewtwo player. Okay. See, that right there, off-map stuff, was part of what he was practicing earlier, which honestly blew my mind, because I cannot tell what's going on. And the few times that I've played Smash, I can barely even figure out how to jump, let alone save myself after getting off the side of the map. Okay, here's that comeback that we were hoping for. Julian doing a good job covering. Oh, that is so unfortunate. It was so close there, neck and neck pretty much the whole game. I know that's gotta feel a little aggravating. So far, this has not been the outcome that we've necessarily wanted, but at least in that last matchup with Julian, he was able to take 2 stocks on the Samus. So hopefully with our next matchup, we're able to finally take the Samus out and move on to the next matchup. Alright, going in on Smashville. I'm not sure who we're sending in. I think I missed that. to be so very honest, I actually don't know which player plays Terry. So I am unsure which icy player this is. Alright. Off to not the best start. Does look like we're gonna lose at least one stock to the Samus again. And there goes our first stock there. Okay. And we're starting to do some damage. Hopefully get her into a final hit range. And finally be able to take this last stock. Unfortunately, we do lose another stock. Surely our Terry is going to be able to get this last stock from this Samus. Finally take her out of this game. We are still struggling a little bit with that last hit, but there we finally go. We'll be able to move on to that final matchup. Or not final matchup, but finally a new matchup. All right. I'm curious to see who this other college is going to send in, and if they are also as good as their first player. I'm not really sure if we were expecting or not to be challenged this much, or what we thought the outcome was tonight. I didn't have a chance to necessarily talk about that with the coach and see like what we thought that the outcome was going to be. hopefully with the next matchups, we can stand a little bit better of a chance and get some of those stocks back. Close the gap for us a little bit more. All right, Terry against Bowser. We'll see how this goes. Alright, off to a very aggressive start from the Bowser, but to be fair, I think everything that Bowser does just kind of seems aggressive. Oh wow, that one was a fast one. Terry out almost immediately. Bowser lost no stocks at all. This first round has been a little brutal for IC. Definitely not ideal. Alright, now that our Terry is out of the running, we're gonna see who else we can send in to take on this Bowser. Alright, Mithra. Is Alex. So we're gonna send in Alex to take on this Bowser, and we'll see how that goes. Alright, so IC is looking at 3 stocks left overall for this first match. And the other team is at 9 stocks. So definitely not an ideal place to be in for IC tonight. It just seems like this first one's kind of been a struggle. So, you know, all we can do is do our best here, see what we can get, and prepare for the second match or the second round of this. Alright, that is the first stock down for Alex. We'll have to see if he can take any stocks from this Bowser. Hopefully, you know, he's getting close, so surely he's about to take his first stock here from this Bowser. Give him a little bit of a challenge at least. Alex takes his first stock from this Bowser. You're about to see it. Alex does lose his second stock. And that is game 1, I believe. Yeah, just overall, a little rough for IC on that first game. Guess we'll have to prepare for game 2 and hopefully do a little better in game 2. Now that we know kind of what we're up against, seemed like that Samus was really the one giving a lot of issue, so hopefully we can reevaluate and go into game 2 a little stronger. It really is times like these where you have to make sure that you're protecting your mental state. You know, you want to make sure that you're not standing in your own way after you don't get a result that you necessarily wanted. So I just hope that the team's able to come at this game too from a new perspective, ready to compete, and not getting too in their head about game one. Game one should really be used as a motivating factor. We hope that we analyze what they did so that we can respond accordingly, but not having game one stand in our way so that we can come back and still have a fighting shot at this. Alright, we are getting ready for game two. See how all of this works. If I remember correctly, the way that the first pick works is we go in blind, not necessarily knowing if they're going to keep the same matchup as last time or if they're going to change that order. So we'll have to see if the opposing team starts with Samus again, or if they decide to change to somebody else, and if there's going to be a new first matchup, or if it's going to be the same as last time. Making some selections here, getting ready for game two. Joker would be Adam. So looks like we are sending in Adam for this first one. Now, Adam normally plays Joker, so I'm interested to see how he's going to do tonight. Not playing on Terry. And it does look like they are sending in an Inkling instead of their first pick from last time. Now making map selections. Seems like it always ends up being something like battlefield or small battlefield. Sometimes we get a PS2 selection. It always kind of stays with those same maps, it seems. Nothing at all. Alright, so first matchup, we've got Joker versus Inkling. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully better than the last time. Some fast-paced gameplay. Nothing too crazy yet. We're kind of all over the map. Ooh, that was an interesting fall there. Alright, as long as we don't fall off the map again, we should be in a better spot here. It very much seemed like Adam was gonna have a easy time with this Inkling until he got trapped under the map. luckily it is not too late, and he seems to have the upper hand here still. Hopefully we can make up for that one lost stock from getting stuck underneath. Ah, brutal again, falls to his death. We see that first use of his paintbrush, which is so common with Ingling, and then Adam is finally able to take that first stock. Hopefully he can take a second stock. Be able to come back from this would be fantastic. Put us in a much better position for game 2. Fortunately not able to take that second stock, and the Inkling does end up winning. So not a dire situation yet for game 2, but hopefully we'll be able to end up a little better off than game 1, because game 1 I think was kind of pretty unfortunate outcome. You would hope that it would be a little bit closer than that, but you know, it happens. Alright. Dark Pits, we are sending in Adam again. Not Adam. Devin. Last game we sent in Devin first. This game Devin is going in second, and we'll see how he does against this Inkling. Goodness. making that selection for which map to choose so that we could get started. Alright, so we have Devin against this Inkling, and we'll see how this goes. Alright, Devin is putting up a fight. We love to see it. Alright. Hopefully we can get this last stock. Devin has already taken one. And while he has lost one, surely in this last little bit here, he'll be able to take this Inkling's other stock and get him out of game 2. Devin not in the best position now. There's definitely still some time here. It's not too late to take this last stock. Fingers crossed that he's able to pull this off. Unfortunate. Definitely not the outcome that we would have wanted, but it's not too late. We still have some more players. That does take IC down to 6 stocks, and the opposing team still does have 10 stocks. It's not unheard of to come back from this, but it is getting a little bit close to what it was the last game. So hopefully we'll be able to turn that around and not have the same outcome as game 1. I know morale has to be suffering a little bit, but we can still make a comeback. Alright, I wasn't looking up when we had character selections, but from the fact, never mind, we didn't have character selections, but from the fact that the music was selected alone, we knew that it had to be Julian. So sending Julian in here to hopefully clean things up a little against this Inkling, take that last stock, and then hopefully go a little further as well. Okay, great start from Julian. Already got this Inkling to the upper percentages in that range for final hits. We love to see it. Hopefully be able to take this stock without losing any stocks of our own and be able to go into that next matchup. That's what we love to see from Julian. So in the next matchup, Julian will have all of his stocks ready to play full force into whoever he matches against. I'm very curious to see who they're going to send in against Julian. Will it be the Samus again, letting him have a chance for revenge, or is it going to be somebody else, letting him have a new chance to shine? Julian is, of course, one of our best players, and so it's always super fun to just watch him go wild. gotta have a little atmospheric music to listen to as we are going in, and it does look like he gets to have that rematch against the Samus. Love to see the fact that we have 3 stocks and 3 stocks, so he gets to have the full potential to have this full rematch. He's got to be absolutely itching to have this rematch and show exactly what he's capable of. We are getting him in the range of being able to get that final hit here soon, and hopefully Julian is able to take this first stock. Or have his first stock taken. That was so unfortunate, but not too late for Julian to come back here. Not quite that final hit, but getting ever closer. All right, finally able to take that first stock. So 2 stocks to 2 stocks, still kind of even playing field. Ah, beautiful second stock down. Hopefully able to take that third stock and put IC in a much better position to win game 2 and take us to a game 3. Even in the event that Julian does lose another stock here, which hopefully he will not, but he will still have one more stock to be able to take this Samus out and have another matchup. And it is Julian that comes out on top in that rematch. That has to feel so good, getting revenge on that Samus that unfortunately took him out the last time, even though it really seemed like he was going to come on top in game 1. And we are looking at a little bit closer of a playing field for IC and the opposing team now. So much better outcome than the first one. IC really putting up that fight that we hoped that they would in game 1. So not too late by any means for IC to win this series. It looks like we are going to small battlefield for our next matchup. Get a little atmospheric music going on. Got Julian in his game mode, ready to take on whoever it is he's up against. Alright, Mewtwo against Sora. And here we go. One stock down, ready to even this playing field. Going for stock 2. Julian is clearly in the game mode, ready to win this match. One stock left, ready to win this match. Julian, or Lore Keeper, really showing why he is one of our best players here. Oh, and he survived that, even though it started to do that animation. A little scary, but not too late for him to come back and get this last stock. And there is the match. Julian coming out on top. That right there is our Mewtwo player. Really showing why Icy is a force to be reckoned with. And now Icy slightly in the lead with 4 stocks, as the opposing team now has 3 stocks. So vastly improved from last game, ready to take game 2 and go into game 3. That might be a little preemptive celebration, but I'm feeling very confident after seeing Julian get his confidence back. Not to mention, after Julian, we do have one more player that can go in and get us this win if Julian is not able to do it himself. making that map selection. It's taking quite a while. Teams are probably talking out some strategy a little bit, thinking about how to finish this game up on top. Alright. Mewtwo against K. Rool. Got a little lag on the stream there. Alright, ready for this last matchup here. Julian off to a great start against King K. Rool. Alright, one stock down. We do love to see it. I have not had the pleasure of seeing K. Rool gameplay very much, so some of those animations were a little wild to me. Especially being able to punch Mewtwo off the stage like that for that final stock. But not to fear, IC has their last player to send in. And still slightly in the lead for game 2, going in with 3 stocks, whereas the opposing team only has 2 stocks. And we do now have Jake, aka JP8, on Marth. So very confident that we're going to be able to finish this second game with a win. JP8, our absolute GOAT. Making some map selections, making sure to get the correct map in order to finish game 2 on top here for Illinois College. And we go with small battlefield.
Choose your fighter. Fight.
Ready to go into our last matchup of game 2, Marth versus King K. Rool. Get a little atmospheric music ready. I'm ready to take game 2 home for IC and go into game 3 ready to take this series. Marth versus King K. Rool. Alright, let's see how this goes.
1, go!
Of course, JP8 having 3 stocks, and King K. Rool having 2 stocks from his matchup with Julian or Lore Keeper. JP off to a great start as always, ready to take stock 1 right off the bat. Little hedge guarding there, not letting K. Rool get back up on the stage. And there is 1 stock down. 1 more to go, which I am very confident Jake will be able to clean up very quickly so that we can move on to a victory for IC. And there is game 2, 1-1 in this match for IC and the opposing team. We'll be going into game 3 all tied up. And this is, of course, a best of 3. So whoever takes this next game will be our victors. And after that performance, I am feeling much more optimistic about IC's chances of winning this. Game 1 was very, very rough, but clearly we've gotten it together a little bit better. This match started out a little rough too, but towards the end there, we could tell that we very much had our act together. Does look like we're going to send in Devin first. So we'll just have to see who the opposing team sends in first to challenge Devin. Making these first selections always takes longer than I expect it to. I always end up sitting here and waiting. But soon enough, game 3 will commence with Devin versus his first matchup. I'm very interested to see who that person will be. Does look like maybe we're waiting for the opposing team. I don't know if it's just me, but this feels like it's taking quite a while for us to get started on game 3. So I wonder if maybe we needed to take just a couple minutes to do something in between these games. Okay, so we have Dark Pit versus K Rule, looks like. Maybe finally ready to get started. Pick the map. Hmm. Yeah.
So they forfeited the first 2 rounds.
Oh,
And it was
jeez.
spoken.
Nice.
That tells you how much of a menace
Yeah. Honestly, if I was streaming Rivals, I would actually know what's going on. I don't know what's going on at all in this game.
Wait until I placed gold 3 placements.
Nice.
No, I was plat 1.
Oh, yeah.
I placed gold 2 after beating diamond 3, so that tells you how my placements went.
But I think we both won 3 and lost 7.
Yeah. David and I went on a losing streak after getting placed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm gold 1 now. But well, no. So like we went on a losing streak, and so I got gold 3 and then had to get back up to gold 1. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go!
Pretty neck and neck for this first match. Hopefully Devin will be able to get this first. Okay, there's one stock for Devin. Okay. One stock down for Devin, but that's okay. Good, pretty neck and neck. Ooh. Second stock lost for Devin. Hopefully he'll be able to get at least another stock here. There we go. Takes 2 stocks. So now both players down to 1 stock. Okay, so set up pretty nicely for the next matchups. Hey, Rule looking very, very killable.
Choose your fighter. Joker.
Now sending an Adam on Joker to finish up this K rule. Should be a pretty easy matchup. I would expect him to hopefully take that last stock without losing any stocks.
Okay, we can see how this goes.
Let's get it.
Choose your fighter. Joker. Ready?
Again here, hopefully Adam is able to clean up this K rule, take him out, take his last stock without losing a stock, I would expect. off to a good start. Close to finishing him off, and there. Almost. Here we go. And here we go. That's the match.
And the curtain falls.
Adam now ready to go into his next matchup with all three of his stocks.
Surprised, John. That's a shame. Oh. We're gonna sit over this.
All right. Joker versus Bowser for this next matchup. Honestly, not really sure how this goes, to be honest. Okay. Looks like this is favoring Adam just a little bit. Hopefully he will be able to take this win. So there is first stock. Oh, goodness. And the Bowser accidentally kills himself. Alright, now the question is, can Adam take this last stock without losing any of his stocks? And he can. Okay, Icy is set up absolutely beautifully for winning this game 3. So in PS2, it's going to be Joker versus Inkling.
Dude, don't get cocky.
3, 2, 1, go!
finally able to take that first stock. After, of course, losing one of his own. Alright, Adam losing his second stock here. Hopefully he's able to at least take one more stock. Alright. Honestly, still set up in a way that he could end up taking a third stock. Ah, and there is Adam's third stock. So, Inkling does end up winning that matchup, but of course AC still has two players to go in. So it is still looking favorable for Illinois College.
Choose your fighter. Fight!
sitting in JP8 on Marth. Jake's gonna hopefully finish off this Inkling. Alright, and there is that stock for Jake.
I cannot afford to lose.
They're gonna steal it, but you better watch out.
Watching all of the people.
No, but I was expecting it to be doing that and then you get up to pay the box.
Also, didn't realize this was not a game.
Oh, there is a silver hop.
Yeah, that has to be its own advance.
Hug me. Hold me. Carry me. I was gonna cry if you did not engage in this thing. Did it come through the game audio? I'll play it.
Alright, finally JP8 against Samus. Jake has not had a chance yet to go against this Samus, so we will see how he does. The Samus has been able to give Icy quite a run for their money, especially game 1. So I'm excited to see this matchup and how Jake does against this player. Jake is obviously able to stand his ground here and put up a fight. Alright, there is stock 1 in favor of Jake. Jake taking another stock before he loses his first. There is Jake's first stock down, but in a very good position to win this matchup. Here is another stock down for Jake. However, hopefully he will end up taking this last stock to be able to win game 2 for Icy. That's definitely what it's looking like. He's still in the better position to win this matchup. And there is game 2 for Icy. Making them the overall winners of this series. All right, GG's, and that is it for this series for the night.